The Tainted Glove presents Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Oh, what a big man you are. Hey, let me buy you a pack of gum. I'll show you how to chew it. Ooh.
And Justin Svo Svoboda.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 10 of Yumper and Svo at the Show. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Garcia, a.k.a. Yumper, and I'm with my co-host, Justin Svo Svoboda. How you doing, Svo?
Yumper, how are you, buddy? I am good, staying cool. I am in the basement. I spent all afternoon at the movie theater, and I am just chilling before a little vacation with the wife.
Awesome. Always great to have vacation. So just a heads up to everybody listening, I have had a ear infection, so I might slur my words a little bit. I'm not drunk. I'm not K-Fits right now. But we got an action-packed episode for you today. So let's get into our Twitter question of the week. So you want to take care of this?
Absolutely. Our Twitter question of the week was, what is your favorite song from a movie by a fictitious band? And we got some great responses. The usual suspects are the ones that sent me the replies. And it looks like I didn't even notice that I put Chicago Brushline in there twice for Airheads. The Lone Rangers was his response, which I absolutely love Airheads. Adam Sandler movie before he got his own vehicles, right? This was a Brendan Fraser movie, but Airheads is a super underrated comedy. Laird of Glencoe, Mike, who joined us last Saturday for Top Gun Maverick, which we will be discussing soon, said On the Dark Side by Eddie and the Cruisers. Great throwback movie. Loved Eddie and the Cruisers. We got Shankster, loyal listener. Scotty Doesn't Know by a band. The band was called Lustra. They never said what their name was in the movie, but from Eurotrip. Everyone loves Scotty Doesn't Know. And then PKKF33, I don't know who that is. But she said the Yaya Ding Dong song from Fire and Ice. Just kidding. That's my wife. But that's the Yaya Ding Dong song. And the Yaya Ding Dong song, if you haven't heard it, is hilarious. That movie was like a Netflix exclusive, completely flew under the radar, kind of about like American Idol in the continent, like in the European continent. It's hilarious. Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, but the Yaya Ding Dong song makes it. For me, it's always John C. Reilly and Mark Wahlberg doing Feel My Heat in the studio during Boogie Nights. Every single time that scene cracks me up. Yumper, do you got one?
I actually got two of them. One of them that comes to mind is I remember I went on a date to go see this movie, and the way it opened was epic. All you see is the disco ball, and you see Will Ferrell with a headband. That's semi-pro when he sings Love Me Sexy before their game. That song is hilarious. And then the second one is actually from one of my favorite Robert Rodriguez movies, Canción del Mariachi, which is from Desperado, when he sings the song in the bar at the opening credits. So even though it was a fake band, I thought that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Always, we have a Twitter question of the week. Send us your responses. We will put them in the show. So look out for that on our Twitter account at Yumper and Svo. And then, Yumper, what's next?
So, Svo, are you ready to enter the danger zone?
Take me to Berlin, Yumper.
So, as you know, we had a big event at the Yumper and Svo show where we actually rented out a private theater to watch Top Gun Maverick. And with us today to give us a review on the event and the movie is somebody really famous on White Sox Twitter. He might be more famous for his godlike calves or the calf god. Let's hear it for Mailman Jack. How you doing, Mailman Jack?
Hey, all right. Yeah, calves, they're real and they're fabulous.
Yes, we know.
We know they're fabulous. Did you, just a real quick question before we get into review, did you have to enter your Apple ID password to get into the studio tonight?
Oh, I forgot that the day I walked out of the Apple store, my phone. So I don't know. I asked my and he told me. So
Okay.
what
All right.
Apple IDs? Those are that's like they're like zip codes. They're completely useless.
This is the running bit on Twitter too. Swole and Jack go back
Well,
and
we
forth
would
about
like to thank
FIDs.
Mailman Jack for stopping by. We appreciate your time.
Oh my god. So guys,
So, Jack,
yeah.
you were with us in attendance for this Top Gun movie screening that we had. Do you have thoughts about the movie and about the screening and the night with
Oh,
White Sox Twitter?
yes, I got thoughts.
Well,
But
the floor is
that's
yours, man.
awesome. Like, so who reached out to me first about reviewing a movie? Was that was Svo?
I think that was me. Yeah.
And then I think I said I'll take the biggest movie of the summer. And then it just turned out that you guys did this. So I was pretty, I was kind of like, did you guys do this all for me? That was pretty cool. but anyway, the whole thing with us all getting together was so nice. And look, I'm having a margarita in my special cup. So
for those listening, we did hand out, like, we teased it and we taunted it, but everyone in attendance got a really really sweet Yumper and Svo at the show pint glass to enjoy your adult beverages in and 108 properly. And the Yumper and Svo pint glasses.
They hold up really well. They're good. It was so nice. I mean, like, so I brought my wife, and a lot of times I'll bring my wife. She's a good sport to Sox games, and she does not really care for baseball. And I'll introduce her to a bunch of people from Twitter that she doesn't know, and then she's like, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool. I really don't like baseball." But then so you guys had the thing at the show, and it's like you're going to meet all these people again, and it was so much nicer for us and my wife to go to this thing, because who doesn't like movies? We love going to the show. The first movie on our first date, we went and saw Sylvester Stallone Cliffhanger, and that was quite the thing, because I am terrified of heights. The opening scene of that movie, I was probably sweating like a bull. So
Can
she
I
made it
can
through
I
that.
quickly interject here real quick? And I just want to comment on your story so far. When Yumper and I decided to do this, we were, messaging back and forth, trying to figure out a name for the podcast. And I'm hanging out, and like it's bothering us. We're trying to figure out like what to name the podcast. And I'm just gonna be completely transparent with you. Like Yumper's from the south side of the city. I'm from the south side of the city. When you're from Chicago, you don't say, "Hey, I'm going to the movies." You say, "Hey, I'm going to the show." Right?
Correct.
So I'm in the basement and I'm dropping a deuce, and it's a doozy, right? Like it's a bad one, right? Like I had like a shrimp burrito the night before, and it was a bad one, right? So I'm like, wait a minute, Yump and Svo at the show, two Chicago meatheads talking about movies, and you just said like three times while you were telling your story, like, we love going to the show. Who doesn't love going to the show? And you just like cemented and like affirmed everything that we went through, like coming up with a name
But
for this
I
podcast. And I want to tell you, I appreciate it. I'm sorry for interrupting your story. I'm gonna let you
no,
finish, but I
hey,
appreciate that absolutely.
uh, I think so. Here's the unsung movie night to go is Sunday night. Is the best night to go to the movie, because you kind of really got, especially if it's not during football season or whatever, there's nothing else to do, and you're going to show you're going to work the next day. Sunday night, a very underrated night to go to see a movie. Too bad Evergreen Theater is gone, because that was the best one to go on Sunday night. Hey, what? But so, like, our little night, like the night at the show. The only thing I regretted was that K-Fitz wasn't there. And that was more geographical than anything. I couldn't imagine watching a movie with him because I love him to death. And he makes my ADHD seem relaxed.
He makes a lot of people with ADHD relaxed. Seem relaxed, man.
He goes back. But he loves movies and he goes into.
And that's how I love K-Fed. It's just a joke, but
absolutely, like we love K-Fed and his attention is everywhere. And he was worried, like no doubt. You saying this also will, like, he was worried. He's like, man, I can't believe like I don't get to go do this with my friends, like the people that we do this pod and the Tainted Glove stuff with. He was worried, but like, Fizz, you're in Vegas, but we love you, man. Like you're always here with us, and we wish you could have been there physically.
Oh yeah, he totally. The first time you were there, Tom, we met him. I met him, and the first thing he zooms in on, he's like, "Holy shit, your kids are enormous!" It's like, what the fuck? God love him. It was hysterical. But
so besides the movie, what was your highlight of the night?
Of that night, it was such a nice night. It was very laid back. Everyone was so nice. I met Paul Disown, or is it this one?
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, dog.
Dog. And that was a trip in itself because we actually lived relatively close to one another. And Mike Reynolds, he was there, and it was just nice. It was just so nice, and so we drive out to Schaumburg, from our house, and we're like, we get there and we find a parking spot in the tower. And we're standing there, we're like, oh, where's the show? And we're looking at this stupid map of the place, and we're like, oh, where is it? And we actually we step outside and boom. We felt like the biggest dopes in the world. It was hysterical. It was awesome. Everything was so nice. It was, what's not to like? And what's kind of nice is like people forgot when we were stuck at home for a couple years. And then people went back out. It's like people forgot how to act like human beings, And the fact that we were in a theater with people that we relatively know, it made it that much better, Does that make sense?
No, it absolutely makes perfect sense. Like it was a bunch of like-minded, great people that wanted to see the movie, but also, and this is something that I talk about, Yump can attest to this, like in my closing arguments, people that know how to behave in the goddamn movie theater. Nobody was on their phones. Phones didn't go off. Like there was no texting. I couldn't see anybody's smartwatch. I mean, I was in the front row, but like I hate people that don't know proper movie theater etiquette. And I was in a theater with 40 other people that knew how to behave in a movie
theater. That was I did spill my popcorn though.
That happens.
I'm not a fan of the recliner at the theater.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
I would prefer a nice comfy chair, but once my feet leave the ground, it's a 50-50 shot if I'm going to fall asleep.
So
when we used to take our kids to the show when they were little, it was my best place to take a nap. It was like, oh, good, I'm going to get a 90-minute nap out of this BS. And just give Dad a little forearm shiver when it's time to go home, But it's a 50 when I'm they're very comfy and whatever, and you get those feet off of. But I'll tell you what was nice. What probably kept me awake was I was in the first row with you, up to the right, and I was able to put my long legs and put my feet on that bar rail, and that probably kept me awake. So, but those recliners, eat some popcorn. I might have a full belly when we get there. It's a 50-50 shot through the whole movie.
So the night the night, the company, that was all great, right? Now let's talk about the movie.
Okay, let's talk about the movie. I was kind of anticipating a train wreck and kind of hoping to see a train wreck, and it did
Okay.
not. The movie was good and really good. And Tom Cruise's acting was better than in the first one. And I have no I enjoyed that movie thoroughly. I was really expecting and kind of looking forward to a train wreck. And the whole are we giving spoilers that certain person that showed up in the movie?
You know
And
what? The movie's been out for 3 weeks, so I think that people that are going to listen to this pod, you can probably talk about it. Yumper, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the person you're about to talk about too, I think everybody kind of knew he was going to be in the movie.
right. Well, I mean, he was in it, and we all know his health problems and whatever. And it was gut wrenching, you know?
It was hard to watch.
It was, but they must have did a lot of work on him because he actually looked pretty good. Because I might peek at a lot of magazines and stuff when I'm at work, and you see stuff with Val. He doesn't look that good in the delivering at work. He looked really good in the movie. But
So you know who did look really good in the movie?
Jennifer
It was
Connelly,
Jennifer Connelly.
yeah, really good.
She aged very well.
And
Yeah.
she's actually pretty close in age to Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Tom Cruise is older than me, but I don't have as much money for the skincare and the hair dye. But it was kind of cool that he wasn't with what was her name, Phoenix. That would have been like what I would have expected, like him,
Someone like a normal, yeah.
right? Like her to be, like his love interest in the movie. But it was Jennifer Connelly, and she's awesome anyway. I'd rather see her with Rick than with the Hulk.
So my question, yeah, absolutely. We don't talk about Ang Lee's Hulk on this podcast. That's a take that
We don't
fits.
talk about that.
We don't talk about that one. Like we don't talk about Bruno.
Okay.
Yumper hates me right now. So now that we've seen the movie and we know the backstory and we've seen all the cool stuff, was it worth it for this movie to be delayed for 2 years to see it on the big screen?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we all kind of got used to watching movies at home and stuff, but this was definitely worth the big screen because they had the cameras like in the jet, and it was so cool. I mean, I really had if I was to pick one nit about this movie, was it got a little James Bond at the end with them trying to find a plane and stuff, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I'll give it 3.5 burritos.
Ooh,
Out of 4?
That's
Out of 4?
Out of 4?
The other half a burrito for lunch the next day.
But the
Wow,
question is,
that's-
after you eat these 3.5 burritos, which house are you stopping at? Chorizi's or Beef's?
Oh, I'm going to Beef's house. Definitely. He gets the full mailman.
So we know that we like the movie. We know that it got 3.5 burritos.
Hope to go to Chorizi's bathroom.
Man.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. It's okay. I totally had a question and it's gone now.
Yeah, the
It's gone now,
Chorizi's
'cause
bathroom threw him off.
we're talking about pooping at people's houses. So that's what Top Gun has brought us to.
It's only natural. I mean,
No, so like
I'm gonna ask you to use your bathroom at your house. It's 100% chance I'm gonna. I'm
that
not.
happens.
I'll pee on a golf course. There's a golf course right next to my route. There's plenty of places to pee there. But the other, I'm either going. Luckily, I work very close to home, and a mail truck comes, parks in front of my house. 20 minutes later, drives away.
I think that we've probably talked more about poop in this episode than we've ever in any other episode.
It's all good, Jack. It's awesome.
No, it's all good. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. No, I think when Yumper and I are in a group text with the rest of the Tinted Glove, Fids and Pete, and I think like we all saw it in similar time. I think like the biggest thing for us was this was the throwback to the old school summer blockbuster, a non-Marvel movie, a loud, obnoxious action flick that you can go see on a Saturday night with your girl, with your wife, with your girlfriend and wife. You know what I mean? Like, it was fun. It was loud. I enjoyed the piss out of this movie. I can't wait to own it. I will watch it again. I wish Miles Teller wasn't such a douchebag in real life because I like the way he acts. I like his movies, but he's such a tool, and he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. So like,
now, was he playing the piano? Because he's a musician.
Oh, I don't know. I would have to look that up, but I think
you know what would have been cool.
What if he played the drum?
When he was playing the piano, if J.K. Simmons came in and slapped him in the back of the head, and he was like, "Again."
That would have been a cameo to end all cameo. That would have been awesome. And then sold him some insurance.
He learned the sequence himself.
Hey, I got no complaints about that movie. We were with a lot of cool people. It was laid back. It was, even my wife and I were just like, because like that theater was so nice. We're like, I wish we lived closer to it.
So you know that fun backstory. That theater was my first job I ever had as a kid.
Oh, really?
I helped open that theater because my parents lived like maybe 12 minutes from there. So I spent a lot of time in that theater. But it's been completely renovated and gutted since I worked there.
Hey, it was such a nice thing. And like I said, it was just kind of cool. Like you said, we were with a bunch of people that knew how to act in the theater. There were no crying babies or anything in there. I love when the baby is in the theater.
Who doesn't?
I'm playing
now the question for you is if we do this again in the fall, are you going to be in attendance for whatever movie it is in the fall, or does it depend on the movie?
No. As long as it. All right, it was worked out really. I always work on Saturday, and it was cool that we went on a Saturday. If I was to make one request, couldn't be on a Saturday, because Fridays.
No, I get it. Fridays is weird for me. Like, I love it. I love that you have opinions on what days of the movies are the best. I just got out of the movies. I just got out of going to see Lightyear with the wife, and it was, Thursday afternoon at 3:00, and there was like 12 other people in the theater, and it was awesome. It was awesome.
I'm just saying, just to go. Going to the show is so much fun. I mean,
no, absolutely, and I think Saturday nights works out for everybody.
My siblings, I have 5 sisters, and I think I'm probably the only one that has a strong opinion about that. I'd rather see a movie at the movies, at the show. Let's go to the show. I would see a movie there because you're at home, phone's going off, whatever, and it's just a better experience altogether too. Even if it's on a crappy screen with crappy sound, and you could hear the movie in the next theater over. I'd rather be at the show. 100 times.
Yump, you got anything for Jack? You want to ask him anything?
I probably didn't say enough about the movie. So
no. Okay.
I mean,
the nicknames. So many nicknames. That was a little hard to keep track of, but I got no complaints at all. I mean, I shouldn't say I have no complaints. I have nothing but good things to say about. And it was nice to see a movie that wasn't full of superheroes or aliens. And I'm probably going way too long.
You're fine.
A lot of times when I walk out of a movie of like a Marvel movie, I think to myself, like the next day or whatever, what was the story? I can't remember. really what the story was, unless it's like from a comic or a graphic novel that I might have read. I could tell you exactly what the story was of this, 100 times over. Straight from him at the beginning with trying to break Mach 10 or whatever it was. It was awesome.
Yeah. It
That
was
was-
awesome.
And it's like, okay, and you knew what was going to happen. Oh, I got it. They did it. They were doing whatever, and Maverick and a Maverick.
Yeah, and then he crashed the plane.
And then
But
the diner, where am I? Earth.
yeah,
Earth.
it had some good like funny scenes in there. I think too, like Jack, like just like I go to see the Marvel movies. I think like I don't know. I think some people are just kind of marveled out a little bit, a little superhero out. Like they'll go see them, but it's kind of run its course a little bit. And I think
It almost feels like a chore now. Like, oh, I got to go see this because I saw the rest, and the stories intertwined. They're fun, they're entertaining, but there's Marvel fatigue is real. And I know like some people said that the Batman fatigue was real, and I get it, right? Like I get it. Like for me, I'll never have Batman fatigue. I will watch Batman read the phone book, but I
That's
get
a
the fatigue
rude
from the
phone book.
superhero movies.
yeah, and I think what this movie actually really shows, like, despite like everything about Tom Cruise as a person, you could whatever you do that way, but as far as an actor, he still draws a lot of money. Like he shows that his star is still big, and he could still. I think this movie made almost a $500 million already, right? So I'm not wrong.
Already, yeah.
Like, so at the beginning of the movie, he had a little personal message for us. And
Yeah.
that was a little hokey, but it was still kind of cool. It was still like, oh, okay, Tom Cruise, I'm with you. All right, let's get this going.
The other thing that it did was at the beginning of the movie, they showed the trailer for like the new Mission Impossible flick. And I was like, okay, I'm in. Let's go see it. Like, it looks good. It looks fun. It looks entertaining.
It was just nice to, like you said, to see a summer blockbuster that wasn't a superhero or aliens or something, or it was just
Yeah.
nuts.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I mean, it was just cool. My review is go see it. If you have any apprehension about it, go see it. It was
So now
it was better than the first one.
the final question for you.
What?
You gave it 3.5 burritos out of 4.
Yes.
What did your wife think of it?
I think she might not have liked it as much as me, but I'll say three enchiladas out of 4.
Because my wife, Kelly, who you got to meet on that Saturday night, right?
Cool.
She's all right. She's not into action movies. She's not into loud stuff, but she loved this movie. She talked about it today. She's like, you know what? I really like Top Gun Maverick. As we were walking out of AMC Oakbrook today. So, like, when you go to an action movie and you walk out of there and the wife likes it, like,
Right.
you know that it kept people's interest and it was a good flick.
All right, now I'll tell you a secret. She's probably going to hear this, but Chris, my wife, would have liked it so much more if it was Nicolas Cage, because that's her. That's her.
Ooh.
You know what,
Remember,
Jack?
can we get a spicy take sound clip for that one real quick?
Yeah, here we go. Here we go. This is for you, Jack.
That's a spicy meatball.
Now, and you know what? When Fizz listens to this, he's gonna be extremely excited because Nicolas Cage is his dude.
He loves Nick Cage, man.
Out in Vegas, right?
Yeah. But Jack, thank you so much for coming on. We love the interaction with you on Twitter. Guys, if you are not following Mailman Jack on Twitter, please follow him at Mailman Jack. Also, talk music with them. Jack, I might have to get you back on and talk some music with you in the films. Jack's a big music head. So I know I text you about it a lot. But thank you so much for coming on, Jack.
Vinyl collection. Yeah, absolutely.
I brought one with me.
Oh,
because I get shy in front of it's Neil Diamond, but he
Nice.
looks
The Jewish Elvis.
like Dan Aykroyd with the Bass-O-Matic on this picture.
he does look like Dan Aykroyd.
He does look Dan Aykroyd. Jack, did you ever see that movie, Saving Silverman with Jason Biggs
Oh.
and Jack Black,
Yes.
where they have the Neil Diamond cover band and they kidnap Neil.
Yes.
Neil, I just want to party with you.
Neil,
I
I want to party with you.
I probably went like 20 minutes too long.
Jack, it's okay.
No, not at all, man.
Oh, up it was like 7:40.
You're good. We appreciate you. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for having me. And 3.5 burritos. Go see it. Easy peasy. I'm gonna go see it again. All right.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, Jack.
All right. Bye-bye.
You're a godsend. A savior.
No, I'm just the postman.
Mailman Jack. The God thighs of Twitter.
Absolutely fantastic person and a great follow. I love interacting with Mailman Jack.
Mailman Jack's probably one of the nicest people I've ever met, and that's not BSing because it was on the show.
It's a toss up between Mailman Jack and me, so it's a toss up.
Yeah, between Mailman Jack and Swole. But Mailman Jack, awesome dude. Great follow on Twitter. Please check him out. And if you were wondering why we're talking about bathrooms, there's a running joke on White Sox Twitter that Beef Loaf will not let Mailman Jack use his bathroom if he had to use it because Mailman Jack is on his route. Beef Loaf said he would not let him use it. But with that, Swole, what have you been watching?
I watched the new Adam Sandler basketball drama or dramedy. Not very like comedic, but it's called Hustle. Adam Sandler's like a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he's trying to get off the road and become a coach. And he's got to find the next great star. Lots of great cameos. Actually, really good movie. I love seeing a different side of Sandler, than the goofy slapstick comedic stuff. The stuff that we see in Uncut Gems and we saw in Spanglish and we saw in Punch Drunk Love. Like the dude can act and dude, he's good. This is a good movie. I highly recommend it. And then we saw Jurassic World Dominion. And I know you saw it too, Yump. And I thought about it today as we were going to the movie theater, and I liked it. I didn't love it. The dinosaurs were cool. The action scenes were shot really well, but it felt like a stretch and a reach. It felt like they were trying to take Jurassic World and just like Mailman Jack said about Top Gun and make it a James Bond movie, a Bourne Identity movie, with the evil corporation. And I know like InGen and all the other stuff in the original book was there or was always there, but it was just a stretch, man. Like I don't know. It was better than Fallen Kingdom, but not as good as Jurassic World. What do you think?
Yeah, so I didn't like it as much. I think that the dinosaur part was awesome for the movie. I do like that aspect. I love the fact they brought back Sam Neill and Jeff Goldblum and Laura Dern to kind of make it full circle because accordingly this is, and I do air quotes, the last Jurassic Park movie of the franchise. I thought that part was cool. I just think the story was not as great. There were certain things in this movie that, they had interactions between people they didn't really elaborate on. They left it up to the viewer to kind of understand, which made no sense because it was central to the plot. That's just kind of me. But I mean, action scenes were great. I would probably say it is better than Fallen Kingdom, but Fallen Kingdom was pretty crappy.
It was bad.
And but I would say it kind of followed the same cycle of the last, only it did the reverse of the second and the third. The second's the worst one, and the third, yeah, actually kind of did the same cycle. Like the first Jurassic Park was great, the second one's considered not as great, Lost World, and then the third one is considered okay. So the first Jurassic World was everybody considered great, Fallen Kingdom horrible, Dominion okay for most.
Yeah, I think you and I had a conversation about the Lost World a couple weeks ago. Before this came out, and I fucking hate the Lost World. Like I'm still bitter to this day about it. When did that come out? 96?
I think it came out, I think 96. 96 or 97.
96 was like my freshman year of high school, so it came out that summer. It would have been 97. And I just remember like talking with my buddy in my 7th grade biology class. His name was Patrick. Like a good friend of mine for a long time, and we were so excited. But we went to different showings to see it, and we got to class on Monday, and we were like, "What the hell did we just watch?" Like, and then we got yelled at by the teacher. They're like, "Don't ruin it for everybody else." And I'm like, "Fuck you." Sorry.
Yeah.
What were you watching, Yump?
I just had Jurassic World. I didn't hate it. My favorite part from that movie is "Don't go into the high grass." We used to say that to our friends all the time. But yeah, it wasn't that great. But for me, I actually watched a movie that was actually was pointed out again to me by Southside Zoe on Twitter, which is Outside Providence. I haven't seen it in a while, but it's such an underrated comedy. I actually had the wife watch it with me, and she actually really enjoyed it. It's a comedy kind of set back, I think, in the 70s, I believe, 70s or 60s. And it's
Yeah.
basically a kid going to a private school, and his dad sends him there to try to get him out of trouble. And he meets a girl there, and just like a bunch of shenanigans happen. But great soundtrack to the movie. Alec Baldwin is hilarious in that movie. I know if you've seen it, right? You've seen Outside Providence, right?
I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, it's an underrated movie. Not the greatest, but it's got some good laughs. And then I watched A Few Good Men, which happens to be one of my favorite movies and one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. Probably one of his best performances as Daniel Kaffee. And of course, you can never go wrong with Jack Nicholson.
It's a great movie. Like you're right. Tom Cruise is like one of his best performance, and Demi Moore was like at the peak of like her just like the word I'm looking for, like smoking hotness, like total smoke show.
Yeah, I mean, she still looks good now, though.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But this was like peak Demi Moore.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
regardless, like it's a great movie. Besides her hotness, like it's a great movie.
yeah. And then Peter Sullivan's in it. Kevin Pollak is in it. A comedian. Kevin Pollak's like, he's very underrated for his acting chops as well. He's done this movie.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding Jr. were appearance by him.
Yeah.
Who's the guy from General as ER? Noah.
Well, Noah Wiley.
Noah Wiley's in there.
Dr. Carter.
James Marshall from Gladiator, the boxing movie.
Gladiator. Oh, good reference right there. Gladiator with Cuba Gooding Jr. Oh,
yeah, another classic movie. Me and my brother love that movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Just even the cinematography of the opening scene, and when they have the Marine Corps do the with the guns, when they do the Marine Corps band do their salutes with the guns. That's awesome. It was just all around great film, and it's Jack Nicholson is pretty hilarious in it because he gets to play an asshole. But now
it's available on iTunes. Hold on, I'm buying it real quick.
We're gonna have a purchase on the show. But now let's get to the meat and potatoes, as Swole says, of the Yumper and Svo show. So we decided to do something. We decided to do something where we have a lot of opinions on film. Now, these aren't to get like clicks or whatnot. It's just our personal opinions. You might agree with them, you might not. If you don't agree with them, let us know at Yumper and Svo on Twitter. Everybody's opinion is, we'll take in grain of salt, like in terms of we don't like it, we don't like it. If we like it, we like it. But everybody's opinion is respected. But we have some hot takes, and we want to give them to you. So, Svo, with that, let's start off with my first hot take. And I'm going to come out hot right now because this is something that's bothered me ever since Endgame ended. And that is that Captain America in the MCU movies is a complete asshole. And I don't care what anybody tells me about all the good things he's done. He's a complete asshole. And the first example I'm going to give you, the first thing I'm going to tell you, this guy had a good heart as far as a scrawny guy, right? He joined the military. He got given the super soldier serum by Stark Enterprises or Industries by Howard Stark. Howard Stark made this dude. And then when he gets come out of the ice, he's a complete asshole to his son. Has no patience for him. Which is like, don't you think you should show at least some gratitude? This guy's dad kind of helped you what you are today. And then he got pissed off when Tony told him everything about you came out of a bottle. So that's one thing. And then the most thing that bothers me about this is that this dude, knowing that Howard Stark made him who he was, knowing that Tony Stark has a relationship issue with his dad, but he misses his father, doesn't tell Tony Stark that Bucky killed his dad. He holds that in. Why? Because Bucky's your friend? Isn't that kind of selfish? You're literally living at the fucking Avengers compound for free, eating free food. You're not paying any rent. Tony Stark's taking care of you, and you're going to screw him over like that? And you try to protect Bucky? I don't care if Bucky was under control by the Russians. He killed his damn parents. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, but he's a nice guy. And then the last thing I'll go before I go on a big rant here is everybody's like, oh, you know, when the cat went back, he couldn't change anything in time because it would have created an alternate timeline. Well, he did change something in time. He went and hooked up with the Carter. That she wasn't supposed to have a husband. So he did change something in time. So that automatically throws that theory out. And while he's hooking up with Carter, all this bad shit's happening. Bucky's getting trapped by the Russians. Howard Stark's dying. If you want to go even political, civil rights actions are happening. Captain America's out there to help that. He was just sat there and let everything happen. So you know what? Fuck Captain America. He's an asshole. And we celebrate the dude, but he was trash. Of course, it's in the movies though. But he was trash. Like, I'm sorry, I got kind of heated there.
Yeah, no, I'm not buying this take at all, bro. Like, first of all, like, you're mad that Captain America is living rent-free at Avengers headquarters? The dude was frozen for how long? He had to be dug out of a fucking glacier.
He didn't need to get frozen. He could have jumped out of the fucking plane and let it blow up.
He can go live in Avengers headquarters or Stark Towers for however long he wants. He was doing his patriotic duty. And he's not.
Do you know?
He's not a dickhead. He's just proper.
A freeloader. Proper. Get out of here. Not
he's
proper.
Just proper. There's proper.
Dude, he's selfish.
When Tony Stark's swearing during Age of Ultron, he's like, "Hey, language. You just don't like him because he's got manners."
You're just throwing this at me just to get me mad. But I'll tell you another thing. Another thing he does that's horrible. This guy, Tony Stark, is dead. He sacrificed himself for the fate of humanity. This guy says, "Oh, okay. I'm going to take the stones back." And then he just leaves. He leaves an Avengers Corps that doesn't have a leader because Tony Stark's gone. He goes and does his own thing with Agent Carter, comes back, and then he's like, "Oh, hey, Sam, I'm going to give you my shield." "Well, thanks, Cap. That's great. But I don't have any super soldier serum, so I'm fucked." Like, you just basically let Sam be screwed over. You left Bucky, who doesn't have any friends, be screwed over. Dude, he's selfish, dude.
You just don't like him because he's proper and he's got manners.
He's proper.
Are you anti-military, Yumper? Are you anti-military?
No, sir. No, sir. But I am anti-Captain America, anti-Steve Rogers in these movies.
I'm not buying it. This dude fought Nazis and the Hydra. I'm sorry. He gets to pass.
And he protected the guy who killed somebody's family.
Greatest generation.
No. And he protects somebody who killed somebody else's family. Fuck Captain America.
Let's go. What do we got next?
All right.
That's a spicy meatball.
All right, let's go on with Swole's take. Go ahead, Swole.
So my first hot take is going to be divisive amongst our listeners, but I'm going to say that the Star Wars prequels are just as good as the original trilogy, right? People talk shit about the acting in the prequels. You know what? The acting in the original trilogy it wasn't as good either. It wasn't that great either. Mark Hamill couldn't act back then. He still probably can't act that great now. He's a great voiceover actor, but you want to make fun of Hayden Christensen and the Jar Jar Binks stuff? These movies are just as good as the original trilogy. The only thing that doesn't hold up is the late 90s, early 2000s CGI. But these movies are fun. They're loud. They're obnoxious. They brought you back to the trilogy. You know, I was doing research for this take because I knew this take was going to get people fired up. and I watched this 3-minute clip of Freddie Prinze Jr. and I think I shared it with you, right, Yump? So
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. did a voice in Star Wars Rebels, I think. And he knows about Star Wars. The dude knows his shit. And he's like, you're just mad that you're not aging with the movies. These movies are made for kids. They're made for a different generation. Listen, if you get a chance, listen to this rant by Freddie Prinze Jr. because it's absolutely true. These movies were made for kids of a different generation, but still had the same Star Wars flair. These movies are fun. I love them. I was a young teenager seeing these movies for the first time. I remember working the day that Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, came out at Sony Theaters in Streamwood, and how excited I was. Like, we thought that there was going to be a massive crowd for the 10 a.m. show. There wasn't. So they let me punch out for 2 hours and go watch this movie and then come back to work. And then I saw it again at night with my friends. I saw Episode 1 in the theater 13 goddamn times. And I am not ashamed to admit it. These movies are probably better than the original trilogy. That's it.
I totally disagree with you on that. Do I think they're the worst movies? No. First thing it comes down into like writing of dialogue. George Lucas is not that great of a writer for dialogue, and I mean he's a great director. When it comes to dialogue, he sucks. But as terms as the greater than the original trilogy, I don't think so. I think the original trilogy has just a nostalgia feeling to it, and I don't think this movie picks up on it. Hayden Christensen did overact in this movie, but it's a sci-fi movie.
So did Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill couldn't act either, and that's why he only made fucking Corvette Summer. His career never took off like Harrison.
What are you talking about? He was Cockknocker, and he was
oh my god,
he's a great voice actor.
The only reason that he got to play the role of Cockknocker in Jay and Silent Bob was because he was fucking Luke Skywalker. I don't dislike Mark Hamill, but Hayden Christensen gets so much shit for this trilogy because he couldn't act, and Mark Hamill couldn't when these movies first came out either. I don't care.
Dude, that's life, bro. Sometimes they give you lemons. But in terms of against the original trilogy, I think it's not as good. But I will say this: Revenge of the Sith is very good. I think it's probably the best of this trilogy, in my opinion. But I don't think it's as good as the original. We know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. They're prequels. We know what's coming in 4, 5, and 6. We know that Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is a bridge into Episode 3 and Episode 4 and Episode 5, right? But like, they're fun. We're excited to see these new characters. We're excited to see how Anakin grew from Jake Lloyd from Jingle All the Way into Hayden Christensen, right? Like, Darth Maul is a cool fucking character that never got the screen time that he deserved because they split him in half in Episode 1. He should have been in the whole goddamn trilogy. But if you watch that Freddie Prinze Jr. thing, there can only be like 1 or 2 at a time. The Force balances out, right? It's a whole thing. It's legit, right? Fuck that. No, I'm fired up. These movies are good. They're better than the original. This is my Star Wars trilogy. You were upset about this, and that was about damn Captain America. I just don't have any. I don't have hate for the prequels. I just don't think they're as good as the original. That's the only thing I'll disagree with you on.
These don't get the love that they deserve. These were good. These were.
I agree. I think sometimes as fans we just get a little too obsessed with certain things.
And Star Wars fandom is toxic. Like, it's toxic.
Like, I think a lot of fandoms are toxic.
Not all fandoms are toxic, but the hate that like the actress that played Rose in The Last Jedi got, like, just for being Asian, was absolutely the worst thing that I've ever seen in any fandom that like has ever occurred. Star Wars fanboys are toxic. And I don't mean people that love Star Wars. I mean people that take this shit too seriously and then they make their whole lives about it. Because we have friends of the pod that are massive Star Wars fans that have their own podcast dedicated to just Star Wars stuff. Yes, but that's not toxic fandom.
No, I totally agree with you. But I think there's shades of toxicity in every fan base. It just boils over there because there's more people who are affected by Star Wars in their lifetime. That shit's not cool. But like I said, it wasn't. The prequels weren't as bad as everybody gives them crap for. Jake Lloyd shouldn't have got the crap he got for being Anakin Skywalker. He was a kid. I didn't agree with the way he was treated. Yeah. And that affected him a lot, which I didn't think was cool. So it's just movies, guys. Don't I know I went off to rant about Captain America, but I'm not gonna go say Chris Evans is a complete asshole because I know Chris Evans is playing a character. It's just a movie.
Chris Evans also absolutely destroyed it, as Lightyear today too.
I haven't seen Lightyear, so I'll give you an opinion.
Dude can act Chris Evans is not an asshole. Captain America is an asshole, according to Young.
Yes.
If you're gonna be passionate and you want to talk, you want to yell at your friends while you're bullshitting. It's okay, but don't take it to a level where it's racial or it's we won't have that on Yumper and Svo. Don't take your fandom to that level.
Yes, totally agree. And with that, let's get into our next one.
That's a spicy meatball!
So, Svo, my next hot take is something that might be controversial to some people. I know it's going to be controversial to some people that are in my family that listen to this podcast. But I'm going to have to go with the sequel to The Wizard of Oz, Return to Oz, is actually better than the original. Now, hear me out. It's not that I hate the original. I do love the original. As you can see, there's a poster behind me in the back of the original Wizard of Oz. I love Judy Garland. I love everything about the movie. But it's kind of cheesy, and it doesn't play as close to the books. Now, I was a nerd and actually read some of the books, and the sequel, Return to Oz, reminds me of a Tim Burton film. If you have not seen it, look up The Wheelers. They are some scary damn things. They're basically people who ride around on wheels, and they're freaky. That aspect of the movie was great. You have Faiza Balk you might know her from The Craft or American History X as Judy Garland's character of Dorothy. You have crazy scenes. Boy? Yeah, the Water Boy. I forgot. I'm sorry. Vicky Valancourt. You also have, this lady called Mombi, who is she has a temple of heads where she switches out her heads in and out. It's very dark for a kid's movie. It's kind of creepy, and that's what the aspect that drew me in. And it follows Selma Baum's books that he wrote, his Return to Oz books and Land of Oz books. So that's something that really captivated my mind. And I think as terms of an enjoyable, more suspenseful film, this movie was better. And plus, it was directed by Walter Murch, who's more known for sound in terms of he won 2 Oscars for sound on Apocalypse Now, and then he won for film editing on The English Patient. So he's got some chops when it comes to film editing and sound production. But I think he did a great job with this movie. So have you ever seen this movie?
So, you know how we always talk about, sometimes it's not about the movie itself, it's about who you were with and where you were. I was in the 4th grade, and I got into some trouble at school, which a lot of my stories start off that way. This kid spilled Pepsi all over my Charlotte Hornets starter jacket. And every kid growing up, when I was growing up, had a Charlotte Hornets starter jacket, right? But mine was mine, right? And I took care of it. This kid spilled something all over it, and words were exchanged, and I made fun of his brother who crapped his pants at school, right? And we got into a fight, and I was grounded, right? And I couldn't go anywhere, and I had to read this book because I put it off for forever, and I was behind reading the book because I was watching sports or playing video games or getting into trouble, right? So I was stuck in my bedroom. I couldn't go downstairs in my parents' townhouse in Streamwood. I couldn't watch TV. I couldn't hang out. I had to read this book and write a book report chapter by chapter, and I fucking hated it. I hated writing the book report. I hated the book. I hated the goddamn people on the wheels that you just talked about. I hate the sequel of The Wizard of Oz. And the original Wizard of Oz makes me think of my aunts, my Aunt Pat, my Aunt Jelaine, hanging out with them and family dinners. So, no, I don't agree with you that the Wizard of Oz sequel is superior to the original. I don't think that it's anywhere near as good. It's 80s cheese-tastic compared to the brilliant masterpiece of the original Wizard of Oz. Sorry, Yumper, but you're wrong.
totally not wrong. And the only reason you don't like it is because you had to do it for a punishment. So that's your
Yeah.
rebellious side coming out. Have you
Yeah,
seen the movie
no.
though?
I have seen the movie and I hated it. It was freaky.
Oh my
and it was
God.
stupid.
That's
and
the
I
whole
don't like
point.
it.
Oz is supposed to be a freaky place. That's the whole point.
No, it's not. It's
Not
supposed to
this,
be a
not
nice.
little.
It's supposed to be this
Uh,
nice, bright, multicolored place with a yellow brick road, not like some like muted yellow
no,
brick road. Yeah,
supposed
no,
to be
sorry,
horrible. That's the whole point of
no,
it.
no.
You think that there's real people that sleep in flowers like that, like in the original? Come on, man.
Yes,
Be
there
realistic, man.
is.
No, totally agree with
Grow
you.
up,
Check out
Yumper. Grow up.
never,
Grow up.
never. Check out Return to Oz if you haven't seen it. Let me know what you think. And Swole's an asshole. Let's move on to our next one.
That's a spicy meatball.
Okay, so we'll take it away.
All right. So my second hot take is that 90s teen comedies are better than 80s teen comedies. I'm gonna just go off the top of my head here, right? The American Pie trilogy, Can't Hardly Wait, 10 Things I Hate About You. I will put up against any 80s teen movie. I don't care if it's The Breakfast Club. I don't care if it's Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles. 90s teen movies are better than 80s teen movies. Adventures in Babysitting is it's whatever. Not as good as the stuff that was put out in the 90s. Cruel Intentions. What else do we got, Yump? What else did I sent you? Did I send you a list?
No, Ferris Bueller
I'll take American Pie over that.
over Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
Get the hell out of here, dude.
Sorry, man.
I would say
Clueless,
that
Dazed and Confused, She's All That, Can't Hardly Wait, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, Never Been Kissed, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Empire Records, Now and Then, Detroit Rock City, Election, Good Burger, House Party, Idle Hands. I will take those over 80s teen comedies any day of the week.
I think I will agree with you in terms of that way because I do think that the 80s actually set the model. Like when we think of a teen movie, I mean, whether you like it or not, people are going to think of the Breakfast Club. It's always going to come to people's mind through the iconic song. But I think the 90s took what the 80s gave us and made it even better. I do like Ferris Bueller. The 80s do have some, we did a whole 2-hour episode on the 80s teen movies, and they do have gems in there.
Look, I'm not saying
but
they're not good.
I do agree. This is a take I will have to agree with you on because I can't really push back on it too much. Clueless is a movie. I mean, great music, great movie.
There's underrated bangers on here that you don't even think about, right? Like Outside Providence, Angus,
Yeah.
Drive Me Crazy. Like there's underrated bangers that you're like, holy shit, I forgot about that. And yeah, that happens in like 80s movies too, but not as much as it did here.
Yeah, I think it was
saying.
more.
I'm sorry.
I guess we can put it as saying, the John Hughes created it, and the people from the 90s took what John Hughes did and they evolved it.
Yeah.
And so I would agree with you there.
It's not that the 80s movies are bad, but the 90s ones just perfected it and made it better. Soundtracks, like American Pie is an underrated soundtrack. Like it's got good track after track. And of course, like Mutt by Blink-182 is on there. So like I'm biased or whatever, but like just fantastic soundtracks. Can't Hardly Wait soundtrack is amazing. Those movies are good. And that's my hot
That was
take.
your favorite soundtrack. No,
It was.
And it's not even like I want to really want, like I said, when I push back, like you said, the 80s had some great movies, Ferris Bueller, Breakfast Club, but the 90s just had better ones. So I can't really push back too much on this one.
Thank you. Finally, some common sense from Yumper.
Oh, God. All right. Let's move on to the next one.
That's a spicy meatball.
All right. I'm going to keep this short and sweet for mine. I don't care what anybody tells me. Encanto is not a good movie. The movie does not have good characters that you can follow along. I don't care about Bruno, and I don't think you should either. The main character in the movie is treated horribly by her grandmother, who's the matriarch of his family. who's a person. These families, we're all supposed to like them because they have special powers. Well, grandma can give two shits about this person because she doesn't have special powers, which makes her unlikable. The movie songs aren't great. I know everybody likes the Bruno song. It's not great. And I gave this movie a chance. I did. I gave it several chances. I watched this movie with my wife and my son. My son, who loves musicals and Disney movies, did not like this movie. He tried it again.
That
did not like it.
False.
Nope.
Erroneous on all parts. You
No.
told us, and I'll go back. I kept the receipts, baby. I kept the receipts that Vin wanted to watch this movie because he liked it. I have the receipts. Maybe Jen didn't like it, and maybe you didn't like it.
Yes.
But you told me that Vin liked this movie. Erroneous.
He said he liked it, and we turned it on, and he said, "Let's watch something else." That's exactly the words he did. So he did tell me, Dad, that he wants to watch it. We turned it on, and he said, "Let's watch something else." This movie is not great. I'm all for the Latino aspect in movies. I just think Coco was a better movie by Pixar. I think the music in Coco is better. I think the story is better. This movie had a lot going for it. I was really interested to see it. I love John Leguizamo, but this movie is not good. Like, I cannot get into it. I'm sorry. I literally want to give it a try. I just cannot like this movie. I don't know what it is. I think the Abuela Madrigal is just irritates me so much how much a bad person she is when she's portrayed to be good. I understand she's conflicted, but she is not a good person. And just like, we're supposed to like her because she's the grandma. Like, she's not a good person. And the way they treat this poor girl because she didn't get no damn special powers, I'm not cool with that. So I do not like Encanto. I just don't.
That's all I'm going to say. Encanto's good. Go watch it.
You know what? The 80s teen movies are better than the 90s teen movies, okay?
That's a spicy meatball!
Go ahead, Swell.
All right, so we had a little pregame talk about this take here, but I do not think that the Coen brothers should be considered or ranked amongst the great directors of our time. The Coen brothers only have 2 great movies. The rest might be good, it might be okay, but they are not great. And those 2 movies that the Coen brothers made that are great are Fargo and No Country for Old Men. I think The Big Lebowski is overrated. I know it's a cult classic, but I don't think it's as great as everybody makes it out to be. I know people love Raising Arizona. I know people love Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But I don't think the Coen brothers are as great as everybody makes them out to be. And the only 2 great movies that they've directed are Fargo and No Country for Old Men. That's it. That's my hot take on the Coen brothers.
And that's a big wet fart because you forgot Miller's Crossing, which just happens to be a great movie with Gabriel Bryan that they directed about the Irish mob, which is excellent. No, it's just that you just have horrible taste in movies. True Grit, the remake, 10 times better than the original.
The remake. It's a remake. It's not better than the original because the original had John Wayne.
Yeah, okay. I care about John Wayne with a damn eye patch. Raising Arizona was good.
Yeah.
Oh, Brother, We're Out There was good. I don't think
good.
you tell him. I said 2. You said 2 great movies. I already said Miller's Crossing is a great movie, and it's not just me. A lot of people can. It totally is. Totally is.
It's not.
You're totally wrong here, because Fargo and you took Fargo and No Country for. Then you're saying that the Big Lebowski is overrated.
It's overrated. It's a cult classic, and I get people love it, but it's not that great. It's not that great.
Get out of here! It has so many great catchable lines that are still cool to today. So a movie can't be overrated if it's still cool today.
What are you talking about? Like by that argument, we don't talk about Bruno's in the top 40 on pop music. So people love that and they sing it all the time.
That's not necessarily true.
That doesn't make it a great movie.
People sing it all the time. When have you heard me sing that we don't talk about Bruno?
When have you heard me quote The Big Lebowski?
No. Fuck you, Donnie. That was the name of one of our episodes.
That's because it was about cult classics.
That's the name of one of our episodes, though.
That's because it was about cult classics.
And you came up with that name. So obviously it had some impact on you.
No. I don't get it. And actually, I hate the dude because he talks shit about the Eagles throughout the movie, man. And you don't talk shit about the Eagles.
That's where it comes round to.
You don't do it.
That's the reason you don't like the movie, because he talks shit about the Eagles.
The other thing is
that Flea in it, dude.
Come on, man. You know how I feel about the Chili Peppers, bro. The only good movie Flea's ever made is Son-in-Law.
No, he was in Back to the Future. He was Needles. He was a Needle. He was Needles, dude. And he was also in the new Star Wars thing too.
You
know what,
saw him
dude?
in the new Star Wars thing, and I immediately like picked up my phone as soon as I saw one of the Red Hot Chili Peppers were on the screen.
You're such a dick. No, I think the Coen brothers, I don't think they're overrated at all. In all seriousness,
Absolutely.
I don't think they're overrated at all.
Two great movies. And
I don't think they're overrated at all.
I'm gonna say this. A part of my like distaste, or not even a distaste, is the year that No Country for Old Men came out was the same year that There Will Be Blood came out. And they were both nominated for Best Picture. And everybody got down on their knees to blow the Coen brothers for No Country for Old Men when There Will Be Blood was a far superior movie. Far superior movie.
I would agree. But you gotta say though, Javier Bardem did a great job in No Country for Old Men.
Sure, and that's why I put it in there as two of their great movies. Just like Frances McDormand and Steve Buscemi in Fargo. Like those two are great movies, and I love them. I just think everything else is just good to average.
Yeah, I think There Will Be Blood should have won us the Oscar for that. But I can't say they're overrated because like even just go like overrated to me is somebody that had like one good flick, and that's everything was mediocre. Their movies aren't really mediocre to me. All seriousness, like Miller's Crossing is a great movie. Raising Arizona is funny. Even though if you say Big Lebowski's like overrated in terms of a cult classic, it's still like entertaining. True Grit was a good movie. Oh Brother We're Out There was a good movie. Like those are not horrible movies. Maybe some of the newer stuff that's come out isn't as great, but I like to overrate it means like to me is like you're a one-hit wonder, or you got so much credit for something that it just didn't feel after that. That's just my opinion. I can't really say they only made two great movies. Like I can't.
I'm going with the two. I'm going with the two great movies. That's my take.
Yeah, I really can't do that one.
Well,
but
how does it feel to be so wrong, Yumper?
You know what, dude? Robert Pattinson is a horrible Batman.
Take that back.
That's a spicy meatball.
All right, let's go into my next one. And this is one I think we might actually agree on, because I'm a big proponent and big fan of movies, as you know. But one thing that really irritates the shit out of me about Hollywood is that they're constantly making remakes. Now, I'm not going to say every remake and every reboot is horrible. I think certain stories do need to be rebooted to be shown to a new audience. I also think that certain remakes need to be done if the first one was horrible. Like they're going to remake the Fantastic Four, but that's a Marvel movie. But there's certain remakes that shouldn't even.
They've already done that, so this will be the second remake for the Fantastic Four.
Well, you know what? That's a horrible example. But all right, let's go to a movie that should never have been remade. Psycho. You picked, or it shouldn't. It was horribly done with Vince Vaughn. I like Vince Vaughn as an actor. Horrible choice to play Anthony Perkins' role. Then you have, if you want to go even deeper on that, you have the movie Nightmare on Elm Street. Robert Englund should always be Freddy, and that history should have been there. And then you had Jackie Lee Haley, who I love.
Jackie Earle Haley, Jackie
Earle Haley, who I love.
So the
that
hard
movie
part,
was bad.
The hard part about Psycho is that it was the exact same movie, like shot for shot, word for word, as the original. You didn't add anything original except for updated camera quality and audio and stuff like that. You did nothing to put your own personal touch on it. Like,
same thing with
not like. Go ahead.
No, same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. It was the same story. There was not.
It was the same. It was the same story.
They tweaked a little bit. Was the kids in the room? That was about it. There was no.
They made. And it's been a while since I've seen it, because you know I love horror movies. They made the sexual predator aspect of Freddy Krueger way more prevalent than they did like in the original, but it wasn't enough to make it like a different movie than the original, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then there's remakes that shouldn't even be happening. Like, for one, they were talking about remaking fucking one of my favorite movies of all time, Big Trouble in Little China. Why?
Well, that movie sucked. So like,
no. In all seriousness, no. You're about to make me fucking blow my. Oh my god, no. Seriously though, like John
Well,
Carpenter
like,
spoke out about this. Like he literally
they
said
just
they don't give a
signed-
shit about the franchise.
They just signed Bill Skarsgård to play Eric Draven in the Crow reboot.
Yes, another
Like,
thing. Now, with that was I think the original Crow should stand on its own. The sequels were horrible. Whether you agree with me or not, Magnificent Stan, The Crow is a good movie. The unfortunate
The
thing
Crow
about
is a
that is that
fantastic movie, Magnificent Stan.
yeah, the only bad thing about that is Brandon Lee passed away. I
Yeah.
did like that Momoa was doing it. Jason Momoa was because he was so passionate about the project. So I wanted to see how it would look. But now it just seems like it's just another way to earn money. Because
well,
I
that's
have Bill
all these remakes
Skarsgård.
is you're cashing in on a property or a license that is known to print money, right? These guys walk into the studio, they walk into the executives in the studios, and they're like, "Look, we're gonna make this movie, we're gonna reprint money, and evil dies tonight."
Speaking of a horrible fucking remake,
Reboot, not a remake.
reboot. Okay, that sounds like the
Well,
Cubs.
and see, so that's where I think that Scream is so successful, right? Scream 5 came out in January of this year, right? And they knew what they were doing. They're like, there's rules to a reboot or a remake. And they played on that and they didn't pander to the audience saying, yeah, we're just going to remake this for a younger audience. They brought in the old characters and they extended the story. They didn't try to reboot it totally. They didn't try to change what was canon, like Halloween, right? We make the evil dies tonight joke all the time because you hate it. I just like Michael Myers, right? That's the only reason that I like the movie, because I like seeing Michael Myers do his thing. But they like David Gordon Green and I'm having a brain fart here. Kenny Powers,
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. Like, they rewrote what was canonized already. They eliminated Halloween 2, like the 1981 Halloween 2, which is one of the best sequels of all time. It never existed.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Like,
and that's
you don't
why
need
I
to
had an
do
issue with
that.
that movie. That's why I had an issue
don't
with
need-
Halloween Kills.
Well, Halloween Kills is the sequel to the one that they got rid of. Halloween Kills
Yeah.
is bad. Like,
Yeah, but I said that's
there's
why I
no-
had an issue with it though, because I think they tried to use the original Halloween 2 with the storyline, but they like it when Laurie Strode was such a prominent character in the original one, and in this one, she's worthless. Like I understand what they were doing, but it's just I don't know. That's a whole other
that'll
podcast we're getting
like,
to.
we could talk about that on a horror movie episode or whatever, but like, you don't need to pander to the audience. And the people that wrote Scream did it really, really well. It wasn't a remake, it wasn't a reboot, it was a sequel where they tied it into what was going on in Hollywood right now. But I agree, Hollywood remakes need to stop. I don't need to see another Crow. I never needed to see the Karate Kid with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan, right? I didn't
Kung
need
Fu
to see
Kid?
the Kung Fu Kid. Like, stop. Let's celebrate original ideas and stuff like that, and make sure people that have a creative voice have an outlet. Like, stop the remakes, though.
We finally agreed on my take, so I guess I can quit the podcast right now.
You agreed on one of mine. We both agreed on something. We agree on stuff all the time.
I know.
These are just hot takes.
Yeah, I know,
Don't be
but
so
in terms of
sensitive, Yumper.
no, not ever. I'm never sensitive. But in terms of remakes, just like to name off a few they made: Total Recall, horrible. Get Carter, The Wicker Man, Point Break. This movie shouldn't be made. I just come up with original
Point Break
ideas,
was
guys.
awful. It was awful.
Yeah, it's Flatliners, Jacob's Ladder. This guy is just please Hollywood, please come up with original ideas for once. Like I love the old movies, but sometimes just need to be kept in their pristine way. Like don't make me new ones. But with that, let's move on to
you know what remake was good though, real quick?
What?
Was Dread, like the Carl Urban,
yes.
like.
But see, Dread, I don't really consider Dread a remake. It's more of a reboot. And like that's why I said reboots, because the new one, that Dread movie actually was closer to the comic book.
Absolutely. But like the
um,
fact that they were stuck in like this apartment, complex, like that shit was good. That movie's underrated.
Yes, very underrated. It's actually a very good movie. And they're actually talking about maybe doing a sequel to that, but I don't know. It's kind of in development hell right now. Yeah, let's move on to our next one.
That's a spicy meatball!
Take it away, Swole.
So this isn't so much a hot take, but I'm tired of hearing about this argument, right? And I know friend of the podcast, member of the Tainted Glove, Aloha Mr. Hand, likes to taunt friend of the podcast, our vacation companion, Pockets, Queen Nam, about Rose and Jack on the door at the end of Titanic. Now, there's a chart, if you're watching on the YouTube version, where you can see that they both would have fit on the door. But the weight of the goddamn door would have sunk them both, and they both would have died. Jack saved Rose. Rose floated on that door, and she lived. They both wouldn't have fit on that door. I'm sorry. I'm tired of hearing this argument. It would have killed them both. There's no way that Rose is as bad of a person as Jenny from Forrest Gump. I'm sorry. It's just not true. Like, it's not true. She would have let Jack live if she could have. And by the way, I don't care who makes fun of me, but I fucking love the movie Titanic. I don't necessarily always love James Cameron movies, but I love Titanic. That's my take. Yumper, what do you got to say about this?
I actually agree with you, but knowing about this, I have watched the Mythbusters episode where they actually myth busted this. Now, there's a caveat to this though. They could have survived if they use Rose's vest, her what's it called?
Life jacket.
Basically, life jacket. Thank you. I couldn't think of it off the top of my head. Her life jacket as a way of buoyancy if they would have tied it around the door. Now, my argument to that is one, this is a 1900s, 1910s. I don't know if the life jacket was made of the same materials it is now today to support that argument. And two, you're in like 0-degree fucking water. That's the last thing you're going to think of, especially if you're not trained for that situation. So I don't think
Exactly.
Rose intentionally tried to kill Jack. I think Jack just tried to be the good guy and put her up there. I do think Rose is kind of shitty for throwing down the jewel down the water, even though that guy brought her on there for free. But
It
I
was
am totally
84
in
years
agreement.
later, Yump.
Yeah, but I mean, that guy was looking for that for his whole life. But I totally agree with you that Jenny from Forrest Gump is the worst, worst person in movies compared to Rose. Like, she's horrible. And you can find our Twitter conversation about that. Like, there's no way Rose is worse than Jenny. I'm sorry, Pete.
No way. There's no way.
No way.
I'm sorry. Like, it's just like she would have let Jack live if she could have. And you're right. Like, if she was a trained Marine or Navy SEAL, she would have known to put her life jacket to make the door more buoyant. But there's no way that you could think about that in the middle of the night in below 0-degree temperatures after you just had to jump off the fucking world's largest unsinkable boat. Get the fuck out of here. Sorry.
Yeah, totally
That's my
agree.
hot take.
All right,
Take
let's
it
move
away,
on
Yelp.
to our next one.
That's a spicy meatball!
All right, we're gonna go with my last hot take. It's not gonna be as hot as the Captain America take, but it's something that resonated with me. So, like we say, our show is not just about movies; it's about experiences. And I'm gonna let you tell you something. I went on a double date to see this movie with my girlfriend at the time and my buddy you were sitting here about with her friend. We went to dinner in a classy place like Palermo's, you know, and then we went to Crestwood Theater in high school to go see this movie. We saw A Beautiful Mind, and this is fresh off Russell Crowe's performance in Gladiator. So I'm a big fan. Russell Crowe's a great actor. He still is. I was looking really forward to it. Jennifer Connelly's in the movie. Looking forward to that. Saw the movie. I literally fell asleep during this because the movie was just something that kept going and going. When he gets put in the mental hospital, he literally, I think it's going to end, and it just keeps going. And the movie was too damn long. His tidbits in the movie were stupid. I understand he suffered from schizophrenia, but to me, it was just ridiculous the way they filmed it. It was just boring. I literally did not like it, and I actually fell asleep in the theater. And
On
my
a date.
girlfriend at the time, it woke me up because I was like passed out. I was literally drooling. Like that's how bored I was. And I never fall asleep during movies. And I since that day I have not watched this movie. And when I asked my buddies, the other girl that was with us, what she thought, and she told me, I thought it was lovely and sweet. I'm like, it was horrible. Not to mention the character John Nash was not really a great person if you look into his history, which makes it even worse because the movie was just bad.
So I think I've only seen this movie like one time, and I bought it because I worked at Best Buy for a long time, and my discount on movies was disgusting, right? So I bought this movie for a few bucks. I was like, it's cheaper than going to rent it. So um I watched it like one time, and I'm like, I will probably never watch this movie again. Like, I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. It was just there. But like I I like Russell Crowe in some things, and then there are some things where Russell Crowe just bores me to tears. Like, I don't dislike him, and I'm very excited to see him as, Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder. And I love Gladiator. Gladiator is one of those weird action movies that my wife loves. Um, but this movie was just blasé and and I'll probably never see it again. Maybe because you brought it up, maybe I'll go watch it to see how I feel now, but I can't imagine that it would change my mind at all.
Yeah, I mean, I always give movies a second chance. Like I said in like Encanto, I gave Encanto several chances. This movie, no, I fell asleep during it. It was so boring to me, and like maybe I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting. The guy was a great mathematician. I read, and then I started
Were
reading about
you
the guy's personal life. I'm like, no, I'm good.
were you expecting it to be like Good Will Hunting because it was like a similar?
Yes, because I think this movie was in 2002, if I'm mistaken, 2002 or yeah, 2002. I think it was in. And I expected it to be kind of like Good Will Hunting, and of course, Russell Crowe was coming off his big
Yeah,
in Gladiator, 2000,
2000
2001, something like that.
2001. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think so he was coming off Gladiator, so I'm like, it's gonna be good. And I don't know, the best part about it was Ed Harris wasn't real. No, that's the best part of the movie. Like, I don't know. If you disagree with me, let me know. But yeah, it's not a good love story. Jennifer Connelly won
I
an
don't
Oscar for it, but it was boring to me.
it, yeah, I don't think I disagree with you on this one. Like, I think it's just, I don't know if it's a bad movie, but it's just a boring movie.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's my take on this. Let's move on to our last hot take.
That's a spicy meatball!
Take it away, Swole.
So my final hot take is something very near and dear to my heart. Most of you guys probably don't know this, but Ben Affleck is my favorite actor. Affleck and Bale are my two favorite actors. And when I found out in probably the summer of what 2013 that Ben Affleck was going to play Batman in the DC EU, I was amped. I was super stoked. Um, and when I saw pictures of what Affleck was going to look like, it's very, very much like Frank Miller's The Dark Knight, and just the physical look of it. And I was very, very excited. And I think that not only was Ben Affleck a terrific Batman, I'm not saying he was the best Batman, but he was the best version of Bruce Wayne that we've seen so far in the DC universe and of Batman. I wish that I would have gotten to see more of Affleck as Batman. I've read many, many rumors that Affleck was writing this movie that eventually became The Batman with Matt Reeves, and it was supposed to be a completely different take on it. And I wish I would have got to see more, but I love Affleck's Batman. He was the best part of Batman versus Superman. He was the only good part of Batman versus Superman, and he was one of the good parts of the Justice League, which is not going to go down as one of the biggest box office flops of all time, but it's going to always go down in my mind as what could have been. Right? You built up this universe, and it just never got to take off. Ezra Miller is screwing up the Flash. I'm wondering if we're ever going to get to see that movie, or if Warner Brothers is going to scrap it. We never got to see them build this DC universe like Marvel did. But I love Affleck's Batman, and I'm always going to just be just a little bit nostalgic and hope for to see what could have been. That's it. That's how I feel about Batman and Ben Affleck.
Now I'm gonna give a little pushback, but I mostly agree with you on this. I think Affleck was a terrific Batman. He was the best part of those movies. The only pushback I'll give you a little bit on is I don't think he's the best Bruce Wayne. I think he's a good Bruce Wayne. I still think Bale, to me, is the best Bruce Wayne because Bale was so good at playing the asshole, and I think it's just me. Like I kind of lean towards the asshole playing of Bruce Wayne.
It's
But
not that it's not that either one is better. It's just that they're completely different takes on the version of Bruce Wayne, right? And that's what makes me excited about like Robert Pattinson, because the Bruce Wayne that we saw in the Batman was very hesitant and didn't want to be Bruce Wayne. He just wanted to be Batman. And then at the end of the movie, if you haven't seen it yet, fuck you, right? Like I'm not gonna like sugarcoat it, right? Like at the end of the movie, he realized like I can make more of a difference as both Batman and Bruce Wayne than I can just as Batman, right? So
Well,
I think they're
yeah,
just
and
completely different. They're different versions of Bruce Wayne. And just like Michael Keaton's version was a different version of Bruce Wayne. Um and the only version of Bruce Wayne that I've absolutely hated was George Clooney.
that's my brother's favorite Bruce Wayne. No, um, no, I agree with you. I guess I can see it that way. Yeah, especially with the Pattinson, how even when he was fighting as Batman, he's like a rabid dog, like very
Yeah.
meticulous and like more
He was such a
focused on one
young
thing.
version of unpolished version of Batman.
Yeah, and then Keaton, of course, the mysterious Bruce Wayne. Nobody ever knew him.
Yeah.
And then we have the Playboy, Bale. So I can see that. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I do agree that Affleck was a very good Batman. He just doesn't get credit for it because
Underrated Batman. Like best part of all those movies. Like if
yeah,
it would have just been him in Batman versus Superman and it would have just been Batman, like it probably would have been better. But like you had Zack Snyder and like the common ground that Batman and Bruce Wayne found was both of their mom's name was Martha.
yes, the
Like
writing was horrible,
it was awful. It was terrible.
and
And I
that's
still
why
saw it.
I kind of wish that Affleck directed Batman versus Superman.
I s-
I
I
th-
still saw it in the theater like 9 times, but like it is what it is, right? Like the writing was so terrible. I'm like I can't apologize for Zack Snyder anymore. Like 300 was good, and then he did like Sucker Punch, and then he did like Watchmen was okay, right? Like people have thoughts about Watchmen.
I like the Watchmen.
It's okay. Like it's not bad. It's not great. My Chemical Romance's cover of Bob Dylan's Desolation Row is fantastic on that soundtrack. Um, I like it. It was long, but it had to be, right? For you to get all that source material in there. I think my only
Yeah,
beef with the Watchmen is that it was dark. Like it was dark, like physically to watch. Not like the violence and shit like that, which it had that, but like it was a dark shot movie. Very, very similar to the Batman.
yes, and it had a lot of parts that were just like, what the hell? Like we talked about with when we had Roxy on, just the part when they have sex in the ship, stuff like that. But as in
Yeah.
terms of like music, the beginning is the end. Is the beginning is the end is the beginning by Smashing Pumpkins is used as their as the like forefront song, and I thought that was a great use of that song for that movie.
Yeah,
Include just
very
like
much like
and Nirvana is used
Nirvana.
for,
Yeah. Yeah.
but Zack Snyder is a person that I would consider overrated. That's if you want to talk about
He's the
overrated,
Cohen brothers of
yeah,
comic book movies.
yeah. I think 300 and Watchmen are probably his best movies, and that's it. But with that,
Yeah.
that ends our hot takes. Well, so I know we went back and forth, but that was some good stuff. But it was all in good fun. Let us know your hot take at Yumper and Svo on Twitter. With
Despite
that, let's no, go ahead.
despite what you might have heard here, Yumper and I are actually really good friends. We talk every day. But we just wanted to get some good back and forth banter on the hot take episode, and it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
Like this
yeah,
was a fun episode where we got to have some discussion about movies. Mailman Jack was great. It was awesome.
definitely,
What do
definitely.
we
Shout
got
out to
coming up?
Jack too.
Yup.
Yeah, so what we have coming out up for our 11th episode is going to be a good one, a doozy, as they would say. It's going to involve the whole Tainted Glove, and we're going to discuss movie film villains, our list of the top movie film villains. So we would have Aloha Mr. Hand and K Fids here to for an action-packed episode. What do you think about that, Will?
I think that's super cool. I'm gonna get some Batman love in there, um, with maybe some Batman villains in there or one because I don't think there's anything other than the one. Um, yeah, no, that's cool, man. I think like for the closing note, I think that maybe normally I have some thoughts, but I think maybe we should talk about something else we got coming up.
Yes. So if you guys have been following us on Twitter at Yumper and Svo, I posted a little video with the teaser trailer on there, dealing with this show called Reviewing Things. Now, if you don't know, the video is a parody of the show Stranger Things. I've never seen Stranger Things. I know, yeah, I'm too late. And K-Fizz recently just watched it for the first time as well. He watched the whole series, binged it. I got curious and watched the first 2 episodes. And while I was texting back in our chat, Soul and K-Fizz suggested, why don't we review it? And I'm like,
I've only seen the first season.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Soul didn't remember everything. I'm seeing it for the first time. Let's review Stranger Things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a show called Reviewing Things. We're gonna do it every Saturday. Except we're starting this Saturday, but we're gonna skip next because Soul's gonna be MIA. He's gonna be on vacation. But we're gonna do
MIA.
in MIA. We'll do 4 episodes a show. This will only be streamed on YouTube and it'll be live. So this won't be an audio version of this, but we'll be doing it similar to the way Terezi and Josh Nelson do Southside Point of View for Star Wars. We're going to do Stranger Things in our own way. So if you guys want to come check us out, we'll be doing it this Saturday. Check out our Twitter. We'll be posting the time. And then you just follow the Twitter to find out when we're going live next. And it's something we hope you guys enjoy. And I'm really liking the show so far. And I can't wait to do it with you, Swell.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. I started the rewatch of season 1. Like I said, I've only seen season 1. I haven't seen 2, 3, or 4. But I was kind of I kind of wanted to get on board with it too because, you know, I work at Oak Brook Mall and they opened up this Stranger Things pop-up store where you could go buy all this merchandise from the show, and it's like officially licensed by Netflix and stuff like that. So I'm gonna binge some season 1 here and be able to chat with you guys and talk after I watch Jersey Shore with my wife tonight. So shout out to everybody that came out to our Top Gun Maverick event. We hope you guys like the pint glasses and you had a good time with us. Shout out to My Sock Summer for helping us with the logo and Yumper for ordering the pint glasses. It was an amazing time. We're going to be doing that again in the fall. Hopefully we get like a good like Halloween, like not Halloween Ends, because like not everybody loves horror movies, but like a good like Halloween type movie. Maybe we could do something like Hocus Pocus 2 if it's theatrically released. Because Hocus Pocus is that's a great movie. It's a great fun Halloween movie. But we're gonna be doing it again. We're gonna have some fun. But we love you guys. We'll see you. We won't record again for another couple weeks because I'll be in Miami going to a Marlins game and hanging out with my family. But we love you, and we will see you soon.
See you later, guys.
Thank you for listening to Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast, a Tan and Glove production.
That's it. I'm getting out of here.